morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock. We'll call our county board meeting to order. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please, Beth.
Commissioner Benoit? Here. Commissioner Pop?
Here.
Commissioner Heinen?
Commissioner Heinen's excused today. He does have a family emergency he's attending. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Gopinski?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, move on to approval or amendments of the agenda. Monty and...
Just one change,
Quick
Mr. Chair. At 9:05, County Engineer, if we could please add as the third item, a County Engineer's Report. And that's all we have.
Okay,
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
all right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the amended agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. County board meetings are broadcast live and video recorded on YouTube. Please refrain from speaking from the audience area and come to the podium so that viewers can hear you. County Board observes Robert's Rules of Order for its meetings, so please obtain the board chair's consent before addressing the county board. Public comments are generally reserved for the open forum segment or public hearings. However, public comment or other agenda items may be allowed at the discretion of the board chair. As we begin today, please turn off your cell phones or turn them to vibrate. Thank you. Open forum. No one has signed up. No one? Okay, thank you. All right, members, move on to the consent agenda. What are your wishes?
Move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. All right, move on to Wes Davis, our county engineer. Consider a resolution and authorization of acquisition CASA 29 extension project.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners and Chair. The first item I have before you is the, as was mentioned, consider authorization and the resulting resolution for acquisition for the CASA 29 extension project. As you're aware, the county had obtained right-of-way for the 29 extension project, and during the environmental reviews, we noticed wetland impacts, so the alignment was shifted south to avoid those wetland impacts, and as a result, there will be some right-of-way, additional right-of-way acquisition to get the new road alignment as well as ponding areas for stormwater treatment. Are there any questions regarding the acquisition?
Mr. Chair. So evidently, when we acquired this, 20-plus years ago, I suppose wetlands weren't quite as prevalent as they are today, and that's why we have to do this?
Sure. That's, I'm assuming what happened. This was in process before I got here, but from what I understand from our consultant WSB, it was just going to be hard to get that amount of acquisition at a 2-to-1 cost.
Okay.
To relocate that south would avoid those impacts. And due to the size of the project, there is an EAW, there's a project memo, so limiting those impacts was a priority.
Okay, because the right-of-way was purchased long before any of us were here.
Correct.
So I think Monty can put some light on that.
Yeah, I remember the preferred alternative route was selected about 20 years ago. We used a consultant called SRF. And I know they attempted to avoid as much wetlands as possible in those days. And then right-of-way acquisition proceeded after that. So it sounds like they're attempting to avoid yet more wetlands, I think. It was the objective, yeah.
Okay.
Wes, I'm assuming we have agreements signed for right-of-way with the people that are listed in the resolution. That's all done?
The right-of-way is, this would be to proceed with acquisition from these landowners. So that process has not been started yet, but
Okay.
we do have a consultant on board.
So
to
just for
start
the
that.
permission to move ahead with that.
Correct, yeah.
Members, any questions for Wes?
Do you know about how much we have to acquire or how many acres or what is it?
That is a good question. It's, as far as the acreage, I am not exactly sure, but there are 15 parcels.
I
And
see
that
that, yeah.
includes, yeah, the realignment plus the additional area that we need for stormwater treatment.
And I'm being year new, I'm sure you haven't had time to go out and look at it because I would imagine if some of this is involving farmland, because I know some of these people were farming some of this land prior to from the county,
Sure.
you know, before this was done, so they've been farming it for many years, so we may be taking some prime farmland, I'm assuming that.
Yeah, and we've had some conversations with the consultant WSB as well as with the attorney Michelle Meyer and kind of have come up with a plan on, because of how it was purchased, there's a first right of refusal. So going through that process and then likely keeping that type of agreement where, because there's a vacation process with the old right-of-way, but the timing is probably gonna depend on the project. So a lot of things like that where they're utilizing the existing right-of-way for farming and, you know, that may come into play for negotiations.
Are we on a very hard timeline on this?
I mean, the grant funding has to be expended in 2007, so there's a big priority.
27.
27, in
Yep,
27?
2027, correct, yep,
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
yep.
Well, if I can add, I know I had a conversation with Ron Bray from WSB about this, and he said the critical thing is you got to start.
Yeah.
You got to
Yep.
start in 27. So this
Oh, okay.
this comes from Ron Bray.
Right.
You all know Ron, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing we wouldn't worry about is actually this appropriation, right? He says you got to start. So
It is planned to be a 2-year project,
Yeah.
27 and 28.
All right, any other questions? Is there a motion?
I so move.
Yep, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution and authorize the acquisition process. Any other discussion?
Has to be done.
Does.
I mean, we got money to do it, so we gotta make sure we spend it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Now, Wes, consider approval of Benton Solar LLC road use agreement.
Yep. So before you is a road use and repair agreement with Benton Solar. And from the map, it looks like they plan to utilize County Road 50 and CASA 25. And for possibly for any other details, I would defer to Michelle Meyer in terms of the agreement.
Okay. Any questions on the road use agreement? This was
We-
something NextEra did present to us at the beginning.
We've
that-
talked about
We've
this
had
many
discussion
times,
on
yeah.
this.
I'll make a motion to approve the road use agreement.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve that road use agreement. Is there any further discussion? Again, this is something we've talked about multiple times in the past. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. And a county engineer report. Wes, go ahead.
Yes. Is this on by chance or?
Is the green light on?
Now it is. Yep. Okay. So engineers update. It's been a busy couple weeks. The CASA 1 and 29 roundabout, the kickoff for the 29 extension is in progress right now. The challenge that we faced, there was a supply issue with the cement. And still, the state's still getting an idea of how expansive this is, but in Minnesota, we're aware of 4 projects. Benton County has 3 of them. And potentially upwards of 100 projects between Minnesota and surrounding states. And something about this cement that was supplied just didn't allow it to set up right away. So we weren't able to get onto it to saw the joints, to control the cracking. and it was almost like it acted like there was a retardant in the mix, and it would just cure all at once and cause this cracking. So on the 1 and 29 roundabout, on the new, on the curb and gutter, some bowl noses, some center medians, and then the center circle, that product had cracked. And we had taken cores from it. We had worked extensively with MnDOT to come and review it and provide a recommendation. For 1 and 29, the concrete office did recommend a remove and replace, because we're paying for a new product and we should get a new product that's not cracked. So they are factoring that into their schedule. That did push the completion date past the 28th. So we've been in contact with the school about how that's going to affect the busing routes, and they're aware to implement Plan B till the end of September. Now, as far as the contract extension, factoring in the rain days and what the contractor proposed for a contract extension, it looks like there will be allowed to go to September 18th, but still in conversations with the contractor regarding that. Like I mentioned, we had 3 projects that were affected, and very unfortunately, our CASA 12 and CASA 13 bridge deck pours utilize the same mix. So the abutments, those cured great, those look great, and this cement made its way into the bridge decks. So at the beginning, what we were seeing in the field was, several days later, the bridge deck was still green, it was still soft, you could kind of still work the material with a pen, and that's unacceptable.
Oh, wow.
So MnDOT's been keeping a close eye on that. The bridge decks did have surface cracking similar to what was on the roundabout. And the challenge is those decks are now meeting strength. So MnDOT is taking a look at it literally under a microscope to determine what the next course of action is, whether it's going to be a surface treatment or whether it'll be a bridge deck replacement. But kind of a first in the state for this kind of deal, just with the supply issue. They did change the cement supplier, and it seems to be fine now, so it kind of narrows down the culprit of that cement being the culprit in these projects.
Wes, the contractor, the same one on all 3 projects?
Correct.
And is there liquidated damages on the bridge decks?
Is there
Liquidated damages for a date?
So we're waiting until we get the recommendation from MnDOT to figure out how to proceed with those contracts. Because even on the 1 in 29 roundabout, we were kind of throwing out a bunch of ideas. Can they just repair the cracks? With the completion date in the school district, do we just open it and force the contractor to fix it the following year? But the cons were too much with the detour, the easement expiring on that road that is being used as a detour, working with the local businesses, and then just detouring the general public. Kind of ruled that option out. And then the concrete office did recommend a remove and replace. So that will be the better product in the end to kick off the 29 extension project.
I think I heard you say there would be liquidated damages after September 18th, though, on the roundabout?
So in negotiations right now with the contractor, because they proposed the 26th, taking a look at the whole project and the rain days and what they're allocated and what they're not, that changed to the 18th in our eyes, in which liquidated damages would kick in after the 18th, but still have to work with the contractor to agree on the extension, the contract extension.
Mr. Chair? Wes, does this go back on, obviously, it's not on the county's cost, but it's on the contractor. Is the concrete supplier gonna be on the hook for this, or who?
Right. So, in our eyes, this is a conversation between Knife River, the prime, and their sub RCS. Do I feel like it's a workmanship issue? I don't think it's a workmanship issue. I think it's a supply issue. So, however, Knife River and RCS and the subs want to handle that. But in terms of the county, it's at no cost to the department.
I just want to make sure that we get that open as soon as possible with school there, but I also don't believe Knife River is at fault. So if it's an extra couple days, not a month, if it's a few days, I think we should be somewhat of a,
Well, and at this
Partner.
point, the days have changed from the 28th of August to September 18th, if that ends up being the agreement.
That's what it's looking like right now, because right now they have to remove 8 inches of concrete that's rebarred in. So that's constructability wise, that's that's a heavy undertaking. So they attempted one method yesterday, but it sounds like they've changed their plans to bring in someone that's going to saw cut it, and then they can chunk it out rather than trying to chip it out with a jackhammer.
All right.
If I can chat, I know it sounds like it could be, 2 or 3 weeks after school starts before it's open. And Wes has been communicating with the school. They're going to handle communication with students and families about the delay. We'll put out our own news release at some point. I think once we get a better sense of when it's going to be open. So we're kind of wait a little bit on that. But the school will handle communication with the students and parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Chair, if I may, the school did ask if they wanted that communication to be joint. So Tracy did send an example letter just saying that there's unperceived delays in the project. This is going to affect the busing. And the school did ask if we wanted to put our letterhead and do a joint statement on that, or as Monty suggested, if we should do a separate news release on behalf of the county.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I think we should do one joint and separate, because when people start seeing that we're ripping things out, they're gonna think the county's paying for it. And I would rather be very clear that there was an issue with the concrete, and it's not on the county, but they do have to take and rip it out and start over.
Well, and we have been communicating with the school
Yeah.
together on a lot of items, so I wouldn't think we'd stop now.
Yeah.
And probably sooner than later, because if they start seeing you ripping out concrete, it's gonna say, oh, this ain't ever gonna be done.
I agree, Commissioner Kaminsky, both with the district and on our own.
And we can certainly send out something sooner rather than later. I think the thing is we don't have a good sense right now of when the roundabout will be open.
Right.
So we may have to say that. We don't know exactly when it's going to be open. Yeah.
Commissioner Benoit?
Wes, so does this delay number 3? Because I'm assuming that the school is not gonna want both of those roads tore up during the school.
Right. So that was brought up at the last board meeting, so I checked into that. In the contract completion for 3 is 9/29. So I wasn't, I think the comment was made that those 2 were gonna be completed at the same time. But in looking at it, the original contract completion for 3 was 9/29.
Okay.
Yeah, and I get that, but what I'm saying is that now that we have to tear this out, that affects that road, which comes into the school. And I know the completion date is 9/29, so if we have both of those roads tore up, lots of communication's gonna have to happen, because those are the only 2 entrances into that school.
Sure. In 3, 3 is probably our best project right now. A few minor adjustments that we had to make. There was a catch basin that was missed, so we'll have to. We'll do a force account to replace that catch basin, but pavement is scheduled soon, so it'll be nice to get that road reclaimed and repaved here soon.
Wes, was there a plan to actually start at Pablo Creek and go west rather than the other way? Which way are they going to start on?
That's a good question. I can
thought
verify that.
Steve said they were just going to start at Pablo Creek and go west.
Okay.
So they would get to the areas affected by the school last.
Sure.
I think that was the plan.
And we might have to hold them just a little bit until that roundabout, because I couldn't imagine. Ooh.
And as I remember from Steve explaining, there's no closure other than a very brief closure to resurface the bridge deck, like a day or 2. Otherwise, it'll be open. It's
No,
not
it'll
gonna
be open, but just that little bit of congestion when you don't have another way in is gonna be,
Yeah.
a bad deal.
Pretty massive.
Is there consideration of starting at CASA 3's roundabout and working east instead? Would seem to me it would make more sense to get the western end done
Sure.
and go east. But maybe there's a reason for that.
And this would have never been an issue if we wouldn't have to tear out the
Concrete.
concrete.
All right, what else you got, Wes?
Yep, as far as projects in development, CASA 2 is well underway, close to 90% plans there. And then, the 29 extension, that is, moving along at 60%. And the next items coming up on the 29 extension will be a sound wall hearing, public hearing, for the vote. And that, they're working on the date for that. They're floating the 22nd, but that's during the DC fly-in, so I would imagine it'll be shortly after that. So as soon as we get those dates, we'll be in communication.
In regards to the CASA 29 extension, has there been work or determination done on culvert sizes on CD 10 that crosses?
Sure. So as part of putting those culverts in, there was a hydraulic analysis done, but with all of our county ditch discussions lately, was there a concern that there was gonna be additional flow added to 10?
I think the concern may be that if 10 ever gets repaired, that those culverts are ready for that
Sure,
flow of water that potentially could come down there.
yep,
I mean, I think the concern was, we don't want to undersize those for the CASA 29 extension. It's got to be able to handle CASA, or CD 10,
Yep.
which would include 6 and 7. So
Sure.
down the road at some point, that's probably going to get opened up.
yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll have to dig into, the hydraulic analysis of that, but, I did notify the consultant of the county ditch and the potential additional flows after maintenance performed. So we'll continue to work on that.
Again, my point is just that should be established as if those ditches are open and flowing,
Sure,
because we don't know when that time is going to happen.
sure.
Commissioner Kapinski?
Not to pile on, Wes, but when you talk about that sound wall in the hearing, before you come on board, I believe we were talking about who the maintenance would be on that sound wall once it's built. And there was some talk that it would be on the community, the local community for the maintenance. We want to verify that because we want to make sure that if that is the case, we bring that up in this public meeting.
Sure.
I think we talking 11 residents? Was
Yeah.
that the right number?
It's
Because that might play into their decision if they want to go forward with that or not.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, we do need verification on who's on the hook.
Yeah.
All right. Yep, for project updates, that's all I have.
Any questions? I do have just a couple quick ones. I think I asked you a couple weeks ago, but any update on CASA 7's project being closed out or CASA 3 and 5 in Gilman being closed out?
Yep. So that's been an ongoing process, just trying to get all the documentation to close those projects out. It's just been a challenge with the transition and
Sure.
tracking down the emails and tracking down the consultants and the inspectors and figuring out when to schedule the final inspection. But
Punch list items been worked on?
yes, so yesterday, I believe I talked to the the inspector, and they said they believe that the punch list items had been addressed, so they were gonna update the partial payment and send that our way.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Any other questions for Wes? Thank you, Wes, appreciate it.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you.
Jacqueline, if I could I just ask you about how long you think Community Health Board may run?
4 minutes.
Okay, then we're gonna move on to that.
move it.
We're gonna recess the county board meeting and move into the Community Health Board, and I'll turn that over to the Vice Chair, Commissioner Benoit.
I'll call the Community Health Board meeting to order, noting all are present except for Commissioner Heinen. And I'll ask for approval for the agenda. Jacqueline, do you have anything you want to ask or add?
Nothing to add, no.
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Go ahead.
Okay, so before you today, the Minnesota Oral Health Coalition is looking to provide us some funds to,
Can I back you up 1 second?
Yeah,
I'm
we gotta
sorry.
do the consent.
Hey, could we do the consent agenda first? Sorry, Jacqueline.
that's okay.
Motion for.
Yeah, motion for.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, Jacqueline, go ahead.
Sure. Yep. So the Minnesota Oral Health Coalition is just looking to grant us some funds to allow us to continue to do our dental and oral health work. So today before you is just a request for you to approve the contract. If approved, we'll receive the funds before the end of the month. So
All right. I'll move approval.
Second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And is that it, Jack?
that is it. Yep. I can just make one note. We do have on our Benton County website, there is a dental health page. And so if anyone in our county is looking for access to dental care or struggling to find care for themselves or their family members, there's a referral form on there. They can put their information in the form and one of our public health staff will reach out to them and help them try to find a clinic to help them. So that's all I have. How'd I do? Is it under 4?
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'll adjourn the public health and turn it back over to the vice chair for county board.
Thank you, Commissioner Benoit. We'll also stay recessed from the county board meeting and move into ditch authority. We may need to take just a couple minutes and wait. I know that we are going to do that at 9:30, and we're expecting the attorney to be online with us. And as soon as he is, we can move into that.
We should have some background music or something.
At least some elevator music.
Yeah.
Monty, you're gonna sing? Hopefully John's not late.
Hopefully not. Monty, did we verify he had the link?
Adam said he sent it to him.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, John, this is Monty from Benton. You have the link for the meeting? No, you need more 5 minutes, you need more 5 minutes before you can join us? Yeah, we're ready to start whenever you are. Okay, thanks, bye. He needs 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's really nothing else we should get into at this point with 5 minutes, so we're gonna hang tight. And we can take a little recess if somebody wants.
Yep. Monty, that email you just sent about the sound wall, that goes both, it's kind of confusing on what the email.
Yeah, we asked WSB about the launch. And the response was, again, it's your project, you have to pay for its construction. And
Jack is saying we have to also pay for the maintenance.
right, and the reason there, she says, is because counties don't possess the ability to levy assessments like the city. So that's the obstacle, is the ability to assess.
So what happens if you do a turn back?
Well, I think that's kind of the next logical step at some point. At some point, the city of Sauk Rapids, the city of Sauk Rapids. We haven't had a lot of luck with turnbacks.
We're going,
Is 46 even settled yet?
that is gonna be turned back, that before I go, that
Always been a struggle.
It's been a struggle to turn anything back.
but Sauk Rapids, they're on
Agreed?
board with it.
Oh, okay.
What's the holdup?
I don't think we've just done it.
Done. Well, I mean, even the sound wall. I go back to, these people knew if they'd done their homework that this was a potential road.
I wonder how many people who bought houses actually.
Right, but it was on the, it should have been,
Well, realtors should have disclosed it.
the realtors or the, you know, when the city did the development, they should have. I don't know how high is that wall gotta be.
Patience, attorney has joined us. Welcome, John. We will go ahead and start our ditch authority meeting. Call that to order. Again, to note that all commissioners except Commissioner Heinen are present. Adam, anything to add or change to the agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Move on to open forum for ditch authority. These are informational matters not requiring any action by the ditch authority today. If there's any other items that anyone from the public would like to speak on that are not on our agenda today. All right, we're going to move on. Consent agenda, approve or amend the ditch authority meeting minutes of July 7th, 2026.
A motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ditch authority meeting minutes of July 7th, 2026. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are carried. All right, we're going to move on to our regular agenda item, a public hearing regarding petition for removal from CD 10. John, maybe I'll hand it off to you if that's okay, and you could kind of bring us up to speed of the purpose of this hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me in the room okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So we are here today for a public hearing on a petition for removal of property from County Ditch 10. This petition was brought by the Brennies. The statute that guides the board's actions today is Section 103E.805. That statute says that any person who owns property or who's benefited on a drainage system can petition to have their property removed from the benefits roll if they can come and demonstrate that, one, waters from the property have been diverted from or held back from accessing the ditch, if the discharges from the property do not regularly or substantially is the language in the statute, but again, we can talk about that language in the statute, does not regularly and substantially utilize the ditch as an outlet for drainage or put a burden on the ditch. And then finally, that removing their property from the benefits roll won't prejudice other people in the system. We can talk about all three of those, but it has to meet all of those criteria actually in order for the board to approve the removal of property. It is the petitioner's burden to demonstrate that they meet the criteria of the statute. So coming in and saying, I just don't think I'm benefited is not sufficient. That's an opinion and it can be considered by the board. But if there's other evidence that shows that the water actually drains from the property and ends up in the ditch and puts a burden on the ditch, that is more direct evidence that's relevant to the decision standard by the board. So today, I believe we're going to receive a verification of the notices given for the hearing, and then possibly some information from the petitioners, if there's anything in addition to what they included with their petition. And then I believe Mr. Ritchie's going to give a report of an investigation he did going out to the site to try to see where the water flows, if the water flows, how much water might flow, that sort of thing. And then ultimately the board can take other public comment and make a decision either today or continue this to another point in time for the purposes of making a decision.
All right, thank you, John. I think with that, we will move on to a record of the notices. Christine, do you have anything to add that the notices have been sent appropriately or?
The notices were sent to all beneficiaries of 10, 6, and 7.
Okay, thank you. All right, staff presentation of the petition and conditions. Adam.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
All right, here I'm just going to start by showing where the petition is being shown here. County Ditch 10 starts down here, Mayhew Lake, and then Mayhew Creek goes up north here. And then the two petition parcels are right in this red outline. Just zoomed in a little closer, here are the two petition parcels as well. Moving on, I'm going to go to the petition itself. I believe the petitioner, Mr. John Brenny, is here today. After I'm done kind of giving my report, I will give him the floor, and like Mr. Kolb stated, it would be his burden to prove to you all that he meets those three criteria under Minnesota state statute. So I'll leave this petition up. It is a valid petition, and it was submitted to us on, I believe, the 29th of June. And then towards the bottom of this, he has pictures to prove why he believes he is not a benefiting landowner. So I will leave those pictures up for him to go over with you after I'm done with this. Third here, Christine just stated this, but I just wanted to get it on record. Here is the notice of the public hearing for today. Like Christine stated, this was sent to all benefiting landowners of 10, 6, and 7, because 6 and 7 receive an outlet benefit to 10. And this was sent out July 15th of this year. Moving on to the inspection report, I did this last year, August 22nd of last year. This is when Mr. Brenny, the petitioner, contacted me and wanted me to do an inspection of his property. He just wanted to help prove why he is a benefit from CD10, and wanted to know if a petition to get removed would be beneficial. So prior to the inspection, I looked at the hydraulics report that Houston Engineering created for CD10's watershed. I'll go over that a little bit later, but it stated that the report that the landowner's property drained into CD10 within the time period of 20.1 to 24 hours. Taking this into consideration, I looked at an overview map of the area. I noticed there was 1,000 feet west of parcel 0400303000. There's a private ditch. And then looking at the contours of this area, it looks like both parcels drain into that private ditch system. And then that private ditch system then drains into Mayhew Creek. And then, as we all know, further south, Mayhew Creek ultimately becomes County Ditch 10. Going further here, here's a more close-up picture. The top of the picture here, these are two of the parcels that are getting petitioned here. And then this is a neighboring parcel that is not getting petitioned. And then here is that location of that private ditch that I stated previously. I'm just going to zoom in here. Here is the hydrolysis report that Houston Engineering gave to us. In this red box area is the two petition parcels. As you can see, they're kind of in this brown shaded area. And if you look at the legend here, it's that 20.1 to 24 hour drain time is what Houston Engineering considered is why there would be a benefit to County Ditch 10. And then this is their property owner reports. It shows that they have class 4 acreage on about half their property, and then they got woodlot area on the other half of their property, which class 4 is the lowest of the classes for farmland, and then woodlot is also a smaller benefit to those as well. Moving on, the parcel straight to the west that's also getting petitioned is mostly all class 4 land classifications. There's a little bit of woodlot in there as well. This is on our beacon. These are the two parcels over here. These little squiggly lines are contours. And based off the GIS information that I have, it looks like the contours are high over here. You know, they're in the 1170, 1174. And then they go down to the 1164 where this private ditch is. Then I'm going to zoom out a little bit further here. Once again, here's that private ditch system, and then it looks like it goes all the way to the west and then connects with the road ditch of Highway 25, and then turns into Mayhew Creek. And like I stated earlier, Mayhew Creek ultimately turns into County Ditch 10. So that concludes my staff report. This is just the evidence that I had at hand. And I will leave it to you, commissioners, to hear from the petitioner.
Okay, thank you, Adam. First, any board members have questions for Adam? His report? Any questions at all?
Not right now.
Thank you, Adam. John, if you could please come up to the podium and maybe state your name and address for the record, and then if you have any additional items you'd like to share with us that are not in the packet, or if you'd like to highlight anything that you submitted, I'd like to hear that, please.
Can I go back to your photo that you had up?
Yeah, so,
I wanted that private one that showed the private ditch.
yeah, so it'll be the fifth one here, the report. And then you want these two down here?
Yeah, that one.
All right, I'll just leave that out. And then yours is just right up here for the petition.
Okay. So my name is John Brenny. My address is 12581 Isle Court in Baxter, Minnesota. And I know Adam has the pictures up here of the ditch, the private ditch. It runs along Highway 25 ditch. And the photos that I had taken will show this, but this private ditch, if he showed you photos of it, he has arrows there, like there was a ditch there, but that's been pasture for 100 years. If the water even gets to it, I don't know how it gets through it, because there is no ditch there. They say that it was dug, I don't know when, 100 years ago, but there is nothing there.
John, just to clarify, that private ditch, in your opinion, then is not open, it's not flowing, it's not been maintained?
There's never been maintained. I lived there my entire life, and I've never ever seen that ditch dug or that runs through Dan Leeser's field or pasture. It's never been maintained.
Thank you.
Dan, that's pastured on both your behalf and Dan Leeser's, correct? The ditch part, your private ditch.
So the private ditch runs, it goes from our property, it goes along Highway 25
Yep.
for several hundred yards, and then it goes into Dan Leeser's.
Correct, that's what I was wondering, yep.
So, these here photos, so I started from the east going west, and this here shows, this is probably 50 yards to the east of these next photos. Here's Highway 25 ditch, the water standing in the ditch there, and then it backs up onto our property. These photos are taken on June 16th. I do have them time-stamped in my phone, if you do need to see that. But there's still, it was fairly dry this year, but there's still a fair amount of water standing. We built that fence and we were walking through a couple feet of water. This next photo here is only 50 yards to the west of this last photo with the water in it. This is the culvert the first culvert that comes to the west of the water, standing water. And as you can see, there's no water standing there. And then the rest of the photos, it just keeps going farther west. And the last one I tried to show that the ground is completely dry. I know you can't really tell it that it's dry, but I know, Ed, if you had a chance to stop by and look at it at
Yeah.
all or not, but I think you drive by there a lot and you know
Well,
how much water.
right now, when you drive by, you can't even tell, I mean, because you have cattle in there, and it's pasture, I mean, basically. Maybe there's a little indentation in the ground.
Yeah, it's not much. The water
Mm-hmm.
is.
John, just to clarify back on your photo, you talked about a culvert. The culvert location is where?
On Highway 25 ditch, so there's a field road,
Okay, so it's a Highway 25 culvert, ditch culvert.
and there's two of them. So if it gets through the first one, the second one was completely dry. The culverts are just too high to let water get through it, I believe. And if it makes it through the culverts to get through Dan Leeser's property, I don't think that even happens.
And would you say, are these culverts in the road ditch, are they part of what you would consider the private ditch that you guys were using, or that starts on your property?
It's next, it flows through there. I don't know how to get back to that, to the other picture.
here. Is this the picture you kind of wanted up?
Where's the Highway 25 right here?
Highway 25 is on the left-hand side of the screen.
So I need to see back here.
Maybe we can go back to these down here. And maybe you can point with the mouse of where those are.
Which one is mine? These two?
Yep, those two parcels, yep.
So the first, is that showing on there?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the first culvert is right about here,
Okay.
and there's no water. There's a culvert that goes under Highway 25 from Rook's property about here, and then the first culvert is right here, and then the second culvert is right up here. So this one had no water here, and this ditch that they count, if it is a ditch, is right here. So that's where the water was standing, and that photo with the standing water is right here. The first culvert's right here, and there was no water in that culvert.
So if I'm seeing this right, and I'm just trying to understand this, that potential private ditch that's on 3200 parcel, that you just kind of recognized a little bit, that starts in kind of in the middle of that, looks like it's right in the middle of the parcel to your right there, down a little bit, right there.
There, coming down.
Yeah. So that's kind of a ditch, is what I'm hearing, comes up, follows the road all the way through your parcel till it gets into Dan Leeser's, and then
Comes over to
kind of
here.
takes a hard left.
And then somewhere, I don't know what this arrow is, cause this is not a ditch.
It was just to show like the contours on the map, that it looks like they go left.
So the water goes this way, and then it kind of, if there is a ditch there that goes through this pasture right here somewhere, I don't know where exactly, but somewhere right around here is where it supposedly goes. Otherwise, the water is supposed to run through here.
Okay. All right, any questions for John?
I do know that the two culverts he's talking about are, they go into a field. There's field participation there.
You mean like their field approaches?
Yep, they're field approaches. They're not a road or any other thing like that.
Okay.
Do you know, John, when they redid Highway 25 a number of years ago from the Morrison County line to the Sherburne County line, did they do any replacement of them culverts?
I do not remember if
Okay.
they did or not.
Any other questions? All right, any other information, John, you want to share at this time?
No, I guess I
Okay.
what I can.
All right, thank you. We'll move into public comment time then on this petition. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak in regards to this petition for removal. Anyone in the audience at all that'd like to add comments? If you could please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Dwayne Brenny, 13072 55th Avenue Northeast, Rice, Minnesota. You guys should have somebody here from MnDOT. When they rebuilt that road with Ed's question, they blew glass or some kind of a formation inside the culverts. And that raised a lot of them culverts 3-4 inches, that dropped the water flow from that. That's when you started seeing when John started having this problem there. I don't think none of that water flows through them culverts and them driveways. But that's MnDOT's deal, I
Yeah,
think.
that's MnDOT, good luck with,
They need to be present.
right, well, good luck with that and good luck with getting them to change their ways.
Yeah, well, that's right.
John, excuse me, Dwayne, John, have you ever requested MnDOT to check those culverts?
I have not talked to MnDOT.
Okay.
But as long as I'm up here, I got another question. Now, we're talking about ditch 10, people getting out of it. Now, Mayo Lake was actually a floodplain for ditch 6 and 7. And now the DNR's got control with the water going out. Shouldn't the DNR be here present, listening to all this?
True.
Every place got a floodplain. I benefit from ditch 6 because I got a floodplain on my land. I have very little of the ditch on my land, but the ditch 6 benefits me because of the floodplain. Now, that's what ditch, or the Mail Lake is. Now, I served on board in Fish Lake and Piers, Morrison County, and we used to always, DNR would give us approval, but we would build the water up on the lake, and then we'd pull a board, let's say, at the dam, and lower the water in the lake, and would take all the algae out. And the lake stays very clean. Now, Little Rock Lake, Mail Lake are both got the same problem, but the DNR don't seem to follow that way. But up in Morrison County, they let us do that. But, so, okay.
Good points, Dwayne. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Christine?
I just want to state that DNR and Bowser are both notified when the notifications go out, so they are aware of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And Mr. Brenny, I think we saw you an answer from last night too on another deal, correct?
Christine.
Okay.
answered it already.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Leonard Pop, 5002 Pine Road Northeast, Bryce. My question is kind of a general one. What impact does it have on the rest of the benefited or the stakeholders to ditch 10 or other ditches if a property is removed or if the land use has changed? Let's say some farm land was 10 acres parceled off with a house built or several of those, so the land use changed slightly. How does that, whether a property is removed, such as what we were talking about here, or if classification changes, how does that impact the rest of us who are assessed maintenance fees or repair fees on these ditches?
Great question, Leonard. I maybe am going to attack the second part of that question, and I'm going to turn the first part over to John Kolb. But my understanding would be in regards to when properties change use, that would not get picked up until a new redetermination of benefits is done. So that redetermination of benefits was done in 2022, and that was a snapshot in time. We understand that things have changed since then, but that's the benefit roll that we have to use until there's a new redetermination done. So hopefully that answers your questions on when things change. Now, the effect that it has on existing property owners, I'm going to turn that over to John Kolb and let him give you the statute on that.
This is a quick question on what you just mentioned about if properties are, classification changes and 10 acres is, does the percentage that was applied to the 80 acres, does that small section, a small portion get then applied to the parcel that was parceled off to 10 acres?
My understanding would be none of that would change until the redetermination of benefits is updated.
So the new land.
I think he's asking a different question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead, John, then.
I believe he says if I have an 80 and I split it into 420s, how do the benefits get distributed? I think is where he's going with that
Okay,
question.
all right, thank you.
And that's a partition action that occurs in the auditor's office, working with the recorder's office. And based on the benefits rules and the benefit mapping that you currently have, it's really easy to do that because whatever acre classifications are on the 20, let's say that got split off, they stay with that 20. And so those benefits then are now allocated to that new parcel. And the benefits roll gets changed a little bit. So the benefits don't change, they just get allocated among the remaining parcels according to how the original benefits were distributed along that, across that parcel to begin with.
So John, you're saying that's an administrative action that can take place in the auditor treasurer's office without drainage authority approval?
It's an administrative action that has to take place in the auditor's office. And I'm gonna assume, and if not, this is something that's easy to establish, is that the recorder's office should have a tag on every property that's within a drainage system. And when it gets, platted or subdivided or however that happens, there should be an alert that goes over to the drainage authority so that benefits roll can be apportioned accordingly to the new parcel or parcels. And then as to the first part of the question is, if we remove a property from the benefits roll, then everyone else's percentage goes up because that person is no longer sharing a portion of the burden of cost. And so whatever cost that parcel would have been allocated just gets distributed among all the other parcels in the system. So that can be part of prejudice, for example, if you let that out and if you don't have very clear criteria for how you're going to let that property be removed, or it doesn't quite meet the statutory criteria, then the prejudice becomes you end up with the fewer and fewer people responsible for costs on the ditch. So it's a consideration. It's not determinative of the outcome.
Thank you, John. Leonard, does that answer your questions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I just wanted to speak to the question as well regarding when a parcel does split. So what happens is Scott Zwick, our GIS person, lets me know when there's a parcel split, and then I go into our spreadsheet, and let's say a parcel split of 40 splits into a 30 and a 10, then like Kolb stated, those benefited acres are split accordingly.
So you do that ahead of time administratively already? For
Correct.
the landowner?
And then I work with Christine, the auditor treasurer, to make sure it gets updated in the tax system as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else that'd like to speak?
I just had a couple.
Yeah.
Question or two. One, just to let you know that this property is probably almost 2 miles from Mayhew Creek. So it's not a large assessment I don't have, but my questions are, so if I am denied this request, what happens? Am I just stuck paying, but the water still stays there? Or is the authority responsible to figure out how this water gets out of here? What happens at that point?
Mr. Kolb, would you like to help answer that?
Well, I can, and part of this is going to reflect my lack of maybe knowledge of the ground and understanding, but I'll talk about it generally and then put it in a legal context. So right now, if I'm understanding the concern is that there's areas on the property where water collects and doesn't seem to be able to drain out.
About
And
25 acres of the 40
right.
acres.
So what we don't know is in what type of storm event does that happen? In what type of storm event does that finally get high enough where it's flowing out and through the culverts and downstream or wherever it goes? I mean, that bears on the question of the standard for your decision is, have the waters been diverted from the property so that they can no longer frequently and substantially use the system? It doesn't talk about, this area ponds after a 2-year rain, but after a 10-year rain, it all flows out or it flows out except for that bottom portion of it. Getting the water off the landowner's property is something that the viewers give credit for. They basically recognize that the landowner is going to have to spend a certain amount per acre to realize some of the drainage benefit or to get that water off their property most efficiently. And so their benefits are actually discounted by an amount that the viewers believe is reasonable to invest in that ground. So I guess the question is, if he gets denied, it's not on you to figure out how that additional water or the water that can't get away currently gets to the ditch. You're really concerned today with, is this property used in a way that when in certain storm events does water discharge from this property and then put a burden on the ditch, because that is the basis of that class 4 and woodlot benefit.
Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Kolb, if his ditch and it runs through the road ditch and it goes to another person's property and he has no way of seeing that property owner cleans his ditch to get to where it should ultimately go, how would that affect our decision?
That is, it shouldn't affect your decision. Because again, those are neighborhood decisions, neighborhood relationships, and individual landowner management decisions. And the landowner may have rights under reasonable use doctrine to force their way onto the neighbor's property to continue that drainage. Because under common law, judge-made law related to reasonable use, if that's a ditch that was constructed for the common benefit of the two properties or the two property owners, and it seems as if in this instance, there was a constructed ditch there, then neither of those owners can prevent the other from utilizing that or from its benefit. So we don't get involved in those disputes. We don't get involved in the assertion of those landowner rights. We look solely at, is this land used in such a way that when water discharges from it, it puts a burden on the ditch? That constitutes a benefit under the drainage code. And again, those class 4 and woodlot benefit classifications are not about, making wet ground suitable for crop production, but it's about recognizing that the land sheds water and puts a burden on the ditch, which results in potential maintenance costs and other issues, or maybe a lack of capacity for other owners on the system. And all of that, the legislature has said, constitutes a benefit to the landowner whose water is discharging.
But it sounds like you're making yourself involved in the situation because you're charging me money, although there's no proof that Ed can testify to that. Some years we cannot even get in that meadow at all. We just built that fence so it's pastured this year, but we would only be able to make hay on it every 2 or 3 years if it was a dry year. So if the water would drain out, we could have maybe cropped it every year. But I think he says that they're not involved in other than the what's the words? You're not involved, but if you're charging me money for something that's not happening, I think you are involved.
I think, John, if maybe you could explain, I think part of our quandary again is when the redetermination of benefits was done, there was a 30-day window to appeal those and to suggest that you're not benefiting. And of course, now we're 4.5 years in. And without a new redetermination, the ditch authority doesn't really have an avenue to necessarily change that. I don't know.
So I don't
what
remember.
you can add
ever,
to that, but
we live in Brainerd, so I don't ever remember seeing anything on that. If I got it, I don't know if there's any way to find out who got mailed these letters. If I got them, like the meeting last night, I never got anything about that. I had no idea there was a meeting last night. So I don't know how I could contest something that I didn't even know about.
Can I just ask a question, Mr. Chair? Sir, are you the taxpayer on the property?
I am.
Okay, because again, the auditor's office uses the contact information from the tax rolls to send those notices out. And so if you are an owner of benefiting property that is on the tax statement as received, that gets the tax statement, because that's the address that the county has, you should have got notice. Can't guarantee that it was mailed for sure. They do have affidavits of mailing, and we could check that roster. We could also check to make sure that your address or whatever address is in the tax system is correct as well.
Well, I got the letter for this meeting or for this hearing.
And
so
may I ask, John, do you get property tax statements?
I do, and I got them.
Okay.
These would have came out quite a while ago, probably, 3 years ago?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, well, in 2022.
Mr. Chair, you talked about the quandary. So yes,
Yes.
the viewers looked at this and they determined under the considerations that they applied to all the property within the watershed of this ditch system, they determined that this property did in fact discharge to the ditch, that it had been, or at least portions of it had been modified from a pre-settlement condition to facilitate that discharge. I have no idea if they applied a further reduction because of the site conditions or elevation or distance or that time of travel for water to get to the ditch. I don't know if how they may have discounted that, but they at least made, after their considerations, felt that this property was benefited in the way that they recommended. The board didn't receive any evidence to call that into question, I believe, and so then approved it, adopting the recommendation of the viewers. Today's a little bit different because the viewers could have got it wrong. And in fact, we've had instances, as the board knows, where landowners had demonstrated that, nope, I've ditched my tile in the other direct, or ditched my land in the other direction, and it all flows that way. And the viewers looked at that and they were like, yep, we agree. Or the investigation went and said, yep, we agree. That's all been diverted away from the system, and you've let that property out appropriately, I think, because they met the statutory criteria. So here, the fact that there's some acres that are wet, that are challenged for use, that is reflected in the benefits class. Because, if it was a class 1 acre, it would have been wetland and now it's perfect cropland. And that would have been the highest benefit. It's not that. It's considered to be the lowest benefit value because its uses are marginal, number one, and its level of discharge is marginal. And that's why it's been assigned the lowest benefit value, either class 4 or woodlot value.
So when they made that determination that the water's getting there, is it only determined by the slope of the land, or is it actually somebody was able to confirm that the water actually gets there?
I don't know exactly what methods they used at that time. They do ground truth to make sure that, for example, if there's a road, they want to make sure that there's actually a culvert under that road that can convey the water. So they do that level of ground truthing. Did they come out and step on your property? I don't know. I don't know if they viewed it from the road. Maybe they didn't view it from the road. Maybe they didn't view it at all. But at least in these proceedings, there was another look at that land to see, can we trace the flow of water from that land to the ditch system? And again, I don't have an opinion as to whether that's right or wrong, but it appears as if this has been looked at now another time, and there's a recommendation from staff regarding their opinion following that investigation.
I did talk to the person that, I think he was the owner of that company in Fargo or North Dakota, wherever he was from. And I did ask him, has anybody been out to view any of the property? And he said, no, nobody's ever looked at it. It's all done from their computers, and that's how they determined it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, John. Anyone else? I thought I saw someone, okay.
Frank Liggett, Saw Crappets. I've been listening to it on that Brenny's. I know where that property is. Have you guys walked it?
I have not.
No.
I've stopped and looked at it, John,
But you
Frank.
never walked it.
well, for most of the part, early spring and until now, you probably couldn't walk it. Because it was wet.
Mayhew Creek, that runs through mine, there's only a few spots that got a little water.
Now,
Now,
Yeah.
what, even all spring?
this property was wet this spring. 'Cause I go by there every time I come to town, and there was water in there up till, well, I seen them when they were building the fence, and they were actually working in the water.
But still, the best vision, if you walk it, you're gonna get your best idea. You can take the drone and send them to Russia. That ain't gonna give you the perfect picture. It's only a few miles from here. It'd be easy for you guys to walk it and determine. It ain't that complicated.
Was there anyone else?
I'm Kevin Lintner. I don't know, Rice, Sock Crab is the address. That's a private ditch. The water, as long as I've known it, because I grew up across from it, there's culverts there. It's a private ditch. It's probably Highway 25 cleaning, maybe culvert height. But you say as a private ditch, you can make that water go. You're assessed to be able to bring that water through. Even if Dan Leeser or the Leesers didn't want to clean it, he could pay to clean the soot out of the bottom of that ditch, right?
That's what Mr.
Because you're
Cole just
benefiting,
said,
right?
yes.
Because it essentially goes to County Ditch 10 or the Mayhew Creek, which all the water runs that way anyways. So in John's case, it did used to drain. There is culverting to that side and along 25. Culverts are maybe too high or they're dirty. The ditch, I believe, is dirty. I drive it every day. I work in the community here. The water, when it is high, shows that it goes that direction. So there is benefit to the whole essential of the ditch, from what I can see.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Bet.
Anyone else?
Michael Deppa, 12831 85th Avenue Northeast Foley. This has to do with the state's responsibility with the culverts off the highway. I don't believe that the landowners are totally getting benefit to some type of survey or some type of value is done on those culverts that go out to the highways. Because I asked Mr. Pop, and I came here, and they fixed 75th Avenue, and they put a culvert in across the county road. The water's not gonna go across Highway 25 until there's something done with the state culverts. You know, unless people would, they either would have to raise or lower the county ditch, which is not proper, but I think it was brought up earlier that there is some type of issue with the state culverts on Highway 25.
Mike, I know you and I talked about a center line culvert west of your property.
Correct.
That was an issue. Were you ever able to contact MnDOT, and did they respond?
I did not contact them because that wasn't my property, you know, my property was back farther.
Okay.
I thought the landowners should get involved and find to make it go the way it's supposed to go, or to see how it does go, you know what I mean? They did replace that culvert across the county road, but it still's gotta go to Highway 25. I have not spoken to any of the neighbors on how that is.
Okay.
I think there's an issue with culverts on the main state highways.
Mr. Chair.
Yep, go ahead, Commissioner Pinsky. Thank you, Mike.
Wes, how hard would that be to get a hold of MnDOT to ask them some of these questions?
I would say I agree with the sentiment. It's challenging, but I can put a call in, see.
I'm not asking for miracles, because we know
Yeah.
how,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I can put a call in and see what we can make happen.
I probably didn't explain that very well, but I think the state highway culverts have an issue with what's going on with the ditches
Mhm.
for flowage.
I think we
All right, anyone else?
My name is Ken Bembleman. I live at 10546 Mayhew Lake Road Northeast. I have, just to reply to one of your comments before, that there was a 30-day statute of limitations to appeal. I bought the property that is being assessed during that year. I went and checked over at the office and stuff. The letter was sent to the deceased relative who was farming that at the time. So I was not notified of this 30-day statute. So when I asked about it finally, they said, well, we sent you a letter, and he went back and checked, and it was not sent to me. So I was never aware of the 30-day statute. None of these ditches, 6, 7, or 10, run across my property. The property that I purchased at that time is where Mayhew Creek and Sucker Creek combine. The DNR came and asked, and I know I talked to Ed. Ed was out there, and I believe you were out there also, about doing that so that they could lower Mayhew Lake, reduce the invasive species of fish, carp, suckers and that, and to clean it up so that it could be a better fishing lake. I've heard rumors now that it's supposed to be made into a walleye fingerling lake type to grow those. Whether that's rumor or not, I have not heard anything more about the process of lowering the lake or not. But going back to these ditches and the benefit, until Mayhew Lake is changed or whatever, the dam on the end, and as you said, the DNR controls the mile and a half south of that. Cleaning out any of these ditches above that is not gonna affect any of that. You can clean out those ditches, but it's gonna have more of an effect on the people above my place because their water is not gonna drain. So when last night at the meeting, when you said, well, you had a petition from somebody on County Road or ditch number 6, if you clean that out and you have a responsibility to him, what about the responsibility to the 5, 6, 8 people downstream that the water's not gonna run off of there and there's nothing they can do about it right now? Because you say that the DNR owns the creeks and it's up to them to either clean them out or not. So it's kind of like putting the horse before behind the cart, the cart go first. So I think it's not a wise decision to clean out these ditches and until you get the rest of it. It's like putting a 12-inch pipe up here, you got a garden hose here and another 12-inch there. It's only gonna go as far as that garden hose is gonna take it. And that's right now is where the problem is, okay? Part of it is, like I said, I allowed the DNR to put that dike across there. That diverts. And looking back, that probably as much as mine affects my brother's land because that would leave a great amount of that water that goes into Mayhew Creek go down Sucker Creek. As long as I've been there and I've lived there my whole life, Sucker Creek was the main creek. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, my uncle decided he was gonna clean out the little waterway in this pasture land so that some of the water would not sit in that pasture, and he cleaned it out to go to Mayhew Creek. So if you guys come out there and look, you can see where Mayhew Creek comes down, and in my pasture where it splits, it still flows like this, but there's a straight ditch that runs from there over to Mayhew Creek, right above my brother's land. So it was cleaned out. That's not the natural flow. The natural flow of a lot of Mayhew Creek was always dry. Now water goes in there because of the dike. So am I at fault for having these people up north? No, the ditch, the creeks are still there. But Mayhew Lake has not changed. The DNR has not changed anything below that. So for us to reap any benefits, you're actually hurting more people by cleaning out those ditches than you are helping. If you say one person petitioned, did he have to pay to petition, or can he just put that in there? Okay, how much are the people losing 2 miles down the road that this water is sitting there because it won't drain out? Same thing goes with ditch number 10. Until something is done with Mayhew Lake and the property below it, we're not benefiting anything. This is what nature has done for hundreds of years until that is changed. If we have all these statutes that, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, sometimes it has to go to common sense. I realize you guys are in a hard spot that you have to follow these statutes, but sometimes they're not right. And so I'm just saying, I don't feel anybody above Mayhew Lake should be paying anything into any of these ditch cleanings right now because we're not benefiting. And until somebody contacts the DNR, which I know you guys say is really difficult, but still, as a board, that is part of your job. You guys are the ones that, if you're making these decisions to clean out these ditches, it's your job to find out what's the best way to do it. Not each landowner, because if it was each landowner, I would go out there, I'd tear out that berm, I'd clean out my ditch, water's gonna run. But you're saying that we don't have, even though we own the land, we don't have the power to do that. That part of it is you you regulate what we can do and what we can't do, and the DNR does. So I know last night at the meeting you said that you guys don't communicate very well. That's not our problem. That's why you're here. The commission, the ditch commission, they need to work, find a way, call somebody. Who can I talk to? Who's responsible for this? There is a person. You have to find that chain.
Ken, could I ask you any specific testimony or thoughts on the petition in front of us today on the removal of that property?
I've seen it. I know what it is. I agree. Right now, I would say for him to pay anything benefits because the water's not running. I mean, you can go, there are places where some water runs, some doesn't. And it's like we all know, it's the 10-year storm that causes the problems. It doesn't matter. You know, if you get your natural rain, the water's gonna dissipate or travel that little bit. But when you get 10 inches of rain, everybody's gonna be flooded out. But like I said, I don't believe anybody above Mayhew Lake and the dam in that DNR land should be paying anything. Everybody should have, you know, we're not benefiting. We're being hurt by some of the ditches north of us getting cleaned out.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
I do believe last night we got some clarification on that we can stop a petition based on some knowledge we have about downstream too, on affecting. I just want to make that clear. I think that was cleared up, John, right? We can do that?
It is, that is correct, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, I have to go at 10:30, so.
Okay.
Didn't realize we would have this much testimony. I only allocated an hour for this, and I have another hearing to run to. The board should follow the deliberation guide. If you don't want to make a decision today, which you don't have to, we can address this later, or I can modify findings depending on how the board decides today. So I apologize for that, but I am not going to be able to stay. I've got to get up to my other hearing.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, any other public testimony?
Vern Reiner, 2759 65th Street Northeast, Sauk Rapids, Minnesota. My question has to do with buffer zones. I was told last night that you have a buffer zone on these renewed, established waterways, so to take care of them, which is fine. I totally agree with it. And to regulate the use of it. Now, if these buffer zones are violated, what's the penalty?
I would assume the process is it would get reported to the county ditch inspector and they'd go out and do an inspection and see what's going on, and then he'd bring that information to the ditch authority.
Okay.
There'd be communication with the landowner to try to get it corrected.
Okay, so currently, there is no necessarily established penalty for my point is running cattle on these refurbished ditches. And there is, you currently don't have a penalty for somebody doing that.
Not something that we could impose immediately because we'd have to do, we'd have to verify the information, have a conversation with the landowner and, just really verify what's going on. And I think the ditch authority would have to deal with it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? One last call for public comment on this petition request. All right, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing portion of this meeting. Board, what would you like to do? You have enough information to move on this? Do we need to continue it? What are your thoughts?
Between last night and tonight, it boils down to, there's not a lot of benefit that's happening on ditch 7 as it goes to Mayhew Creek. And we can't do anything with Mayhew Creek as a ditch authority to get it cleaned unless we have permission. The parcel in question, I know I see it, that the drainage there takes, if you get a 3-inch rain, it's gonna take a long time for that parcel to drain out. There's no doubt about that. Over the years, you've seen it, that it's, I think there's a field to the west of that that's The crop on there looks pretty good this year, but you know how dry it's been this year. So, does it get to ditch to the Little Rock or to Elk River, Little Mayhew Creek? Yeah, it probably does eventually, but I bet it takes it a lot longer than what our viewer said is the 24-hour deal. I'm probably disappointed that when the viewers, I think there's parcels like Mr. Brenny's got, that there should have been people out on the ground and not just use, you know, GSI or whatever they use to view it. I think there's certain things that we probably learned as ditch authority when we were doing this that we probably should, you know, and the public should have probably been there too, that there should have been parcels that should have been requested that they be out there to look at it. That's at a time, or, you know, to see what it was. You can't just sit somewhere and say, this land drains here, because in the photo, you can see the ditch was there at one time. There was, but if you drive by it today, that ditch is, I mean, I don't know if it's 6-inch indentation in the ground or not. So I don't know if we got enough evidence to go either way, but maybe we need to look at, before we remove it, maybe we need to look just further into seeing if Mayhew Creek we can ever get that cleaned. I don't know.
Commissioner Kapinski?
Mr. Chair, it's a catch-22 on everything right now, because we can have people go and do boots on the ground to every property, but imagine what that cost would be.
Yeah,
And we heard what people thought of the costs that were done electronically, and that was really high. So all of these are a cost to the ditch. Then you look at it, it's a snapshot in time, and things can change year to year to year to year. And if we have to keep doing these redeterminative benefits every year, these thousands of dollars are gonna be put on the ditch all the time. So it's a tough situation, because I think these were done in 2022, and it's 26. Yeah, things have changed, and we have to keep going back to it's a spot in time. Then we have to, and I believe Ken made the comment about getting in touch with all of the partners that may be the MnDOTs, the DNR, the Bowser, we can definitely do that, and that is our job to do that. But getting them to work with us, we can't make them work with us, and that's a real problem, because I know when Chris Bird was here, we did try and get people involved. And Wes, maybe you know a little bit on the background with your prior position. It's not as easy as telling them, we need to get a hold of you and you need to come and talk to us. They still got to be willing to do it. And these culverts on 25, as much as we say they're in Benton County, we have nothing to do with them. I mean, they a lot of times won't even talk. I'm on AP3, and that's a district meeting. We work with MnDOT, and I've said it many times, I feel like it's a formality. We're there just to give the blessing, and we've pushed back on a lot of things, including studies and Highway 10 studies, everything like that. But they've got their own way of doing it, and I don't know. So I'm sitting here going, do I think we have enough to make a decision? I do. Is it the right decision based on the snapshot in time? I don't believe so. But where do you stop? Mm-hmm. And where do you start moving forward? Because if we do one now today, what are the chances that 10 or 15 on other ditches are coming? And we're going to continue to do this. So I do believe, in closing, I do believe that we need to stop the momentum of these ditches and do the common sense that we talked about last night and start from the bottom up. And that includes getting our neighboring counties, whether it's Sherburne County, involved, because when that water lets loose down there, they're gonna have an issue. So it's all the way down the line that we gotta start talking, and I'm glad that Mr. Kolb brought up the fact that we can stop a few of these petitions while we figure out some of that. So that's.
And I think that's good discussion. I think John would probably guide us back to, the 4 items that can allow us to remove it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's something you want to move into and answer that today, or if you feel we need to have more information, or I guess I need some direction on how you think we should go. from what I can see, there's been 4 criteria listed that we would have to answer yes, I believe, on all 4 to be able to move to remove.
And I don't think I could answer all 4 as a yes. And you gotta answer all 4.
All 4 gotta be a yes.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that I don't agree. It just,
No.
you can't legitimately answer yes to them.
Are you prepared to move ahead with those questions, or do we need more information? And if that's the case, we're gonna have to continue the hearing, which we can do.
Do you think,
But I got a quick question. John, what is the assessment on this, or maybe Christine, you would know roughly?
It's in the packet. No, I think you mean his portion.
Yeah, his portion of it.
$120. I think it was like $120.
For both parcels.
For both parcels.
So this is his property owner report from both parcels. The first parcel here is a 0.056%. And then his second parcel is a 0.077. And so this is based off a $100,000 estimate. So $100,000, he would be paying $77 for this parcel, and then the other parcel would be $56. And that is the hypothetical $100,000.
So based on what we have right now on this ditch system, what would his, I mean, what do we, about $100?
Yeah, I think that must have been them combined, and that was off of last year's maintenance assessment, which was 70-some thousand.
Yeah, the maintenance assessment last year, I believe, for CD10 was 42,000. But with the outlet benefits to CD11 maintenance assessment was 47,000, I believe. And with the outlet benefits, it's CD10 pays 69.7%. So like Christine stated, it's, yes, CD10 was assessed $42,000, but with the outlet benefits to 11, it was more than that. And as she stated, with both parcels combined last year, it was around $100 for the maintenance assessments.
Christine, that was based on $100,000?
No, that was based on the
Actual-
maintenance assessment that was.
Okay.
Are we ready to move into the questions, or do we need more information? Because that's kind of where we're at.
Do you think it's, and Adam would know that, or Wes, do you think it's feasible to try and contact the DNR and work with something? I think if Mayhew Creek was cleaned and the drainage was there, I think the assessments should stay, but if we're not gonna get the water to move, like Mr. Bim Boom said, that nobody should be assessed. So I guess it would be based on if we think we can work with them.
Well, we've got costs
We've
that
got cost, yeah.
we're gonna have to, I mean,
I just want to clarify, Commissioner Pop, do you mean nobody on the system?
Well, no, as this petitioner says, he's not benefiting, and if they can prove that, I mean, it's gonna open up a can for everybody to come forth.
Well, maybe what I'll do, maybe it'll help you, and I'll read it out loud, the 3 criteria that were listed in the potential findings. Number 1, does the evidence support a finding that the waters from the petitioner's property have been entirely or partially diverted from CD10 drainage system, or that the property cannot significantly or regularly use the CD10 drainage system as an outlet for beneficial drainage? Does the evidence support a finding that the petitioner's property is not benefited by CD10? And does the evidence support a finding that removal of their property from the benefits roll will not prejudice the owners of property remaining in the system? And those 3 questions would have to be answered yes, in a whole, to be able to approve the petition. So if we're at that spot where we want to answer those questions and move on this, that's where we're at. And if we're not, we can continue the hearing. Thoughts?
And we have to answer yes to all 3 of the questions.
Mhm.
I don't think that's possible with what we have before us today.
Yeah. I personally think that our attorney should be here for this one.
Okay,
Because this is gonna set precedent on
Right,
everything.
absolutely.
so then we'd be looking at continuing the hearing.
I know it absolutely, you guys like being here,
As much as we do.
but I just wanna make sure we get this right, because I don't want a ripple effect and find out we were in the wrong.
Right.
And stuff, because as you guys know, we're not ditch pros by any means. We have to look at our legal people to help through this. I will say, based on what I know and what I've heard, I don't know that I could answer yes to number one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep,
I just, yeah, I mean, that's saying it's almost completely diverted from 10, and I can't say that. I'm
Right.
not saying that you don't have a issue with it, John. I think the plan is if it did drain like it should, then you would have no problem paying the $100, correct? I think that's what we heard earlier. So I would like to push this myself to another meeting, and it should be a meeting a little bit further down the road, not 2 months, but maybe a month down the road, to where we can get Wes and Adam and maybe some of us involved to see if we can get the DNR, MnDOT, all of these people in a room and say, here's our problem. So, what are your thoughts?
Yep, I would agree with that. Because we can make some calls, and I know from working with the Little Rock watershed with the DNR, they don't get back to you right away. They want to wait and do their, check out their evidence, check out their studies.
So I'm hearing consensus that we would continue the hearing then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm unsure, I guess, if we'd be in a position to set that date today.
right.
I would not.
I mean, we'd have to confirm availability with John and.
you're gonna get John's calendar, right, yeah.
Is there anything pressing from the auditor treasurer or anything on this right now? Or any staff?
And I don't think, maybe help me with this, I don't know that we would have to re-notify either. If we continue the hearing, the people that are here understand that. Whether or not we have to re-notify, I'm unsure.
Well, typically with public hearings, if you're gonna continue without publishing, you've got to announce the date, time, and place at that time, so those folks know.
Mhm.
That's the general rule of public hearings. I guess you could try and pick a date and hope it works for John. I was gonna see if I could call, I don't know, he said he had to go to another hearing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can check with Julie, his paralegal, and she could certainly have access to his calendar.
That's what I was thinking, if I could actually just get a hold of it.
Maybe we should do that quick and.
Yeah, okay.
So I got a question then, so if the hearing is continued, but yet you gotta, like he was saying, notify people when and the date the hearing is he gonna be charged more again? Cause the meeting is continued, but you gotta notify more people, so is he going to,
I think to answer your question, I think if we set the date right now,
okay,
then he wouldn't be.
That's how I would understand it too.
Yeah.
It would be more attorney time at the next hearing,
Yeah.
which would be cost of the petitioner, so I think, maybe the
Good point.
petitioner should speak if that's what if he wants it to be continued.
It's a good point.
You're supposed to have a 30-day notice if you're gonna have a meeting
Mhm.
or any personal agenda, there's has to be put on the calendar for 30 days.
I was hoping to speak with the person there who helps with John Cole's calendar. We're trying to get.
I can say right now, I couldn't answer yes to number one. So if I had to vote today, I couldn't vote to.
That's what I thought when you read it, and I'd have to read it again, but.
John, you have comments or questions? I mean, to Adam's point, if we continue this hearing, there will be additional attorney fees involved.
Well, I don't know if anybody's gonna change your mind at this point, but I still don't understand the part about the private ditch running through Leeser's property, and I would be responsible to pay for that, but I gotta pay for everybody else's ditch cleaning all the way down the line.
Hi Julie, Monty, Haley, Benton County. We're here in a ditch authority meeting. We're trying to check John's availability to join us again for a public hearing, a continuation of an issue we're talking about today. So, how far, I'm talking to Mike.
What if there's 2
How far out
months?
do we wanna go?
Maybe we could look into October.
Yeah.
So first meeting in October is the 6th.
I think we'd maybe move it to the second
Second
meeting,
one,
the
yeah.
20th.
I'll say, how about, we're talking about, how about October 20th in the morning, around between 9 and say 11. He's currently open.
Okay, we'll have to let her know. I want to make sure to confirm with the petitioner that that's something he'd like to
Save
do.
the date.
Okay, so you please hold that for us, from 9 to 11. We'll get back with a more specific time frame, but please hold it 20th of October from 9 to 11. It is continuation of today's public hearing, yes. All right, thanks, you, appreciate it. Okay, yeah, bye.
And again, John, I want to make sure that you're helping make this decision a little bit because, you know, if we continue it and we have the attorney back, there's going to be cost. Or if you would really like us to try to make a decision today, we could do that. And I understand your position. I don't want you to be frustrated that this will cost more money because we pushed it off.
One of the things I'm frustrated is he's brought this forward and he's got a valid point that there's a lot of things going on and it's a cost to him and there's nothing we can do about it. It's common sense. We've talked about it last night. It sucks is what it does.
My
So
question would be also, is it my responsibility then to make sure the highway department lowers those culverts so I can use it? Or what am I paying the $125 for?
I think our plan would be to get MnDOT involved and DNR involved, and there's gonna be there's gonna probably be four different, the Fish and Wildlife. Yeah. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people involved in this whole plan moving forward. So your portion is, albeit a small portion, but it's creating an issue, that everything downstream, and we need to tackle all of this, I think.
But what does my portion have to do with it? If it is determined that I'm getting no benefit, what does it matter downstream? That's, I guess, my question.
Well, to answer that from my standpoint and mine alone, I just couldn't answer yes to number one, that first portion. It says, does the evidence support the finding that the water from the petitioner property have been entirely or partially diverted from CD10 drainage? That's the part that I would struggle with because they talk about the 10-year rain and it happens every 10 years, it'll go there, right? So.
If you think that you're not gonna approve it anyway, I mean, that's fine too. We don't have to delay it. Or do you think there's any information that you're gonna get that's gonna determine my property still drained?
I would look at that and explain to John some of the things that we're talking about doing is contacting the DNR and the MnDOT. And if they agreed to anything, we would probably lean towards denying the petition then. Because that would tell us that we're gonna make an outlet for the water that happens in there. So that's a good point.
But if it's still, how much of that gets through the ditch that's, that's a half mile through Dan Leeser's property.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean,
the ditch is basically gone.
yeah,
And that was news to me when Mr. Cole brought up
that
that
was to me too, that you could
private ditch, you would have the ability to go in and clean that if you wanted to because it was a private ditch.
Right.
That's the first I heard about it.
But he also said that would be something between neighbors.
Between
not the
neighbors,
ditch.
yeah, we wouldn't have nothing to do with it.
And you can't stop it either. What I heard out of it. When he said it, you can't stop it, the neighbor can't fight it. What I heard out of it.
Yep.
Well, again, we would have to answer yes to all three questions. I think I'm hearing John say that if it's the intent of the drainage authority to deny it, there's no purpose in continuing the hearing and costing him more money.
Right.
But if you're not at that spot where you can make that determination today, we would have to continue. So
I just look at Mr. Cole being here for that next hour is more than the $100 than you pay for the, for the assessment for the year.
But that's, I'm looking like 10 years though.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I think our intention as the drainage would be to fix the issue all the way downstream so that all of these can eventually be fixed.
But I think we gotta be a little bit careful about telling Mr. Brunny that it's our intention to approve or not approve it if we're gonna continue a hearing. I mean, that's the part of.
Yep,
continuing
exactly.
The hearing, that we've gotta receive more information. And I don't wanna sit here and tell him that if we continue the hearing, it's gonna get granted.
No.
I think we gotta be really careful with that, in fairness to him.
Yep.
So again, if we're ready to move ahead on these three questions today, otherwise we're gonna have to continue.
I think it's gonna be tough to remove them even in 2 months, in my opinion.
Well, I think the process we're taking would kind of tip it the other direction of denying,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we can't, unless our attorney can shed some light on why we should grant him removal. And I didn't hear any of that today, realistically.
Well, and I think he would guide us to the three questions.
Yes.
You know, and all that information's based off the information that Mr. Brunny submitted, the information that the ditch inspector submitted. We do have the redetermination of benefits that have been established, right or wrong.
Right or wrong on the redetermination of benefits, I agree.
Is there a no to the other questions besides the first one?
That's what I was actually just going through now.
Well, yeah, and
And number three, I
Redundant.
can tell you right now, I don't think I could, because
well, and it's a little bit redundant because if the answer is no to any of them, we can't grant.
yeah,
So all three have to be answered
Yes.
yes.
yeah. And even number three, it
That it would
will.
not prejudice the owners of property,
Yeah.
because if you take them out of the system,
It's going to,
it's going to prejudice them.
yeah.
So, again, are you ready to move forward with the finding?
So, Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Sure, go
So
ahead.
if we move forward with this finding, and because I agree, there's ones I can't answer yes to right now to this petition. Does it stop the landowner from re-petitioning if some of the answers that he wanted are not taken care of within six to 8 months or whatever that might be? Because right now, without redetermination of benefits, how do I know if this is outliving to 10 eventually?
First of all, I don't have an answer to your question if he can repetition. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I would think you'd be able to appeal, but can't answer that.
Yeah, and I don't know that either. And I like the idea of asking him what he wanted to do, because obviously as this goes on, and if we keep delaying, this is gonna cost him more money.
Yes.
And I don't wanna do that either.
Also, as you look forward in your decision, in regards to three questions, there are three draft motions that may help guide you in your decision that you may want to just quickly review.
I think it would have to be number one, so.
Okay. So if you're ready, I'd entertain a motion.
I will motion, Mr. Chair, I move that we deny the petition and direct our legal counsel and staff to prepare findings and order consistent with the proceedings, including responses to all comments received through the public comment process. That the draft findings and order be written to affect the dismissal of the petition. And that we recess this hearing to the board's regular meeting. What's today's date? August 18th, 2026 at 10:57 a.m.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to move for denial of the petition. Is there any further discussion?
I think, yeah, I mean, it's sad that it has to get to 3 questions that we cannot prove, you know, that he didn't definitely come forward, and we can't say, we're under statute or under the law that we can't prove that it doesn't go to the ditch. And then yet you look at the property and it's like, boy, this really is not right.
Yeah. And Mr. Chair, I'm doing this not because I agree with a lot of what he is saying, but I think if we get to, we're all planning on going with these ditches and we fix downstream, he will benefit from it. And you brought it up earlier, Mr. Pop, it's like, if we push it, kick the can down the road, it's only to prove that, you know, it will be, you know, he will be benefiting from it. And why have him spend more money to have that happen? Now it's gonna be up to us and Adam and Wes to get the partners involved so we can get this figured out downstream.
Any other comments? Got a motion, a second on the floor. Any other comments? All right. Beth, could you do the roll call, please?
Commissioner Benoit,
Yeah.
Commissioner Pop,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kapinski.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, the motion passes, and a vote to 4-0. Commissioner Heinen is absent. If you could please record that. Any other business before the ditch authority? Any other business? All right, we're adjourned at 10:59. Thank you. All right, we're gonna pick back up and move back to the county board regular meeting. You get that agenda in front of me. Monty, are we ready to move into a closed session?
You wanna finish everything else and do that
I think,
last?
do we have everything else done, I think? Oh, I'm sorry, like meeting updates and that type of thing?
Cows, set the cows, all that.
Okay, in 1 second, Dan, go ahead.
Could you guys call me when?
Absolutely. Ed's got your number, we'll call you, hopefully,
Thank you.
shouldn't be real long. Okay, thank you. All right, committee of the holes.
I'm the same way you are. Like when I sit down, I don't get it for a while, like, I know how it is.
All right, number 1. Let's see here. There is a proposed battery storage facility planned for Kasha 29 by the substation there, you know, just east of Molitor's. There will be a public hearing on this proposed battery substation September 1st at 6 p.m., Sauk Rapids Government Center. If you're interested in attending. Again, September 1st, 6 p.m., Sauk Rapids Government Center. The hearing is being conducted by the Public Utility Commission.
Can we just list that, you're gonna list that as a call for everybody?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We want to note for you is the informational meeting on data centers is going to be at Riverside Terrace in what they call the Clearing Park. So I think kind of those interchangeable That's Wednesday. That's actually tomorrow at 10. Yeah.
That's already on our
Um,
cows.
Sorry.
That's already listed on our cows.
Yeah, I think we didn't have the location. I think they also want to know. Looks like they're asking for planned attendance of you all. Who plans to attend the meeting on data
I'm
centers?
planning on it.
Here.
I am too.
Sure. I wanted to note is that's organized by Benton Economic Partnership. That's correct. Yes. Thanks, Amanda. Okay, number 3. Is Wes still here? Yes. So we're currently engaged in a Safe Streets for All project. And make a long story short, this makes us eligible for 8 SIP grants. And it's being conducted by a consultant. And they want to have a fairly large community meeting on this project in October at, I think they want to try and use either the government center or the clearing. And the dates identified as potential would be October 26th or 27th. October 26th or 27th. Do you have a preference? And the time frame would be 9 to about 2. So a fairly long meeting. They're going to provide lunch. They're inviting like townships and cities, other interested parties in safety improvements throughout the county road system. Would this also include any city streets, or is this just county roads, Wes?
This is just county roads.
Just the county road system, yes.
County road safety plan. Yep.
Right.
Mitch, or Wes, are we talking about like through our major cities?
Yep, this would be, every segment, every curve is identified in the county and ranked for safety purposes, and it has treatment methods that we can then go get 8 SIP grants to make those improvements. So it's all county roads throughout the whole county, and then the county did elect to do the Safe Streets for All portion of it, so that would be more urbanized, but that component is a part of it too.
So
As far as dates,
October 26th or 27th?
I'm open both days.
Either
To
is
me, it
fine.
don't
Okay,
matter.
why don't you just pick one then?
let's do the 27th then.
The 27th, okay. 27th, 9 to 2.
You'll have to get us
Beth,
a-
I
get us a
think,
location.
yeah, let's see here. I thought you told me one of these buildings,
The clearing is open both days.
the clearing.
government center
Let's assume for now it's gonna be at the clearing, facility there, Riverside Terrace. This one, there's no time to get this on the calendar. That's just gonna have to wait. All right. We were contacted by the Benton Economic Partnership about tours of the 2 solar sites that are currently under development. The Regal Solar and Xterra, sometime in September or October, to take tours of those 2 facilities under construction. It should be nice to do these both in the same day.
Thank you, Wes. Have a good day.
Thanks, Wes.
Could be,
You think that's possible?
yeah, I think we could do it both on the same day.
Okay. So September or early October, Pam says from BEP.
About how long would we expect it?
There's gonna be a little bit
2 to
of
3
travel
hours?
time between the 2 sites, cause they're pretty much in opposite directions.
2 to 3 hours?
3 hours.
So maybe 3 hours max total, okay, yeah.
Max total.
So maybe in the morning from say
Like
between.
carpooling from one to the other? Is anybody besides county board?
We'll invite our board members, but
Okay.
BEP board members, okay, yeah.
How about maybe could we invite the 2 townships that these are
Oh,
located?
absolutely, yep, yep, we can do that.
12th or 13th of October?
Let's see here. Sure,
Let me double check that.
the 12th or 13th.
Either or.
Either or.
Either one's fine, Amanda, okay. Why
Let's
don't you
do the
pick one?
12th?
Oh, let's do.
12th, okay. October 12th,
Maybe 9 to noon or something?
9 to noon, yeah, 9 to noon.
Okay.
That's all we
That it,
have.
Monty?
Oh.
Wow. Go ahead, Amanda.
Can I have one more just announcement real quick? There's a groundbreaking event at Minnesota Signature Care.
It's too late to put that on a calendar without 3-day notice, sorry. Yeah, that's why I skipped it.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I skipped it.
When is that?
That's tomorrow at 3.
Where's that at?
Rice. You could have
Oh,
two.
we could still have two people go.
Two people could.
Just the whole board can't.
You can whole board can't. You could have two go. Okay, we can't put it on a cow calendar though, so.
Yeah.
So now, what'd you say the time is?
3 o'clock.
Okay, I can make that at,
I can't go tomorrow. And Commissioner
Minnesota
Heinen was
Signature
invited,
Cares.
so maybe we leave it at that.
okay.
Steve and Ed.
Yeah, and I don't
Whether or
know,
not
is
Steve
Steve,
can go, I doubt it, but I can't speak for him.
I could always go as a friend of the people that are building it, cause I know them really well.
Anybody else want to go or needs to
I would
go?
like to, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to with a couple things I got going on.
Okay,
Pam?
I will go, yeah.
I can't go.
Okay,
Okay.
so
If I can go, I'll,
You call me.
yeah, I'll call you.
Okay.
you check in with
And we'll
Steve.
check with Steve and make sure.
I'm sure I asked you this before, but did you all go into the data center meeting?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep,
Yes.
okay, everybody's going, okay.
What time is that at?
10 o'clock.
10.
That's at 10.
No other cows, Monty?
No other cows.
Wait, do we have the, BCAT meetings on the 27th?
Oh, the next township officers meeting is in September usually.
Yep,
Oh.
September 27th.
27th is Sunday.
The 24th.
Must be the
24th.
24th.
I can't read.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's.
I have it on my calendar, whether or not it's listed on the cow, I'm not
Is it,
sure.
is it listed?
Is it already
BCAT.
listed? The next township officers meeting, is it already listed?
Should
She
be
says
September
no.
24th, 7 o'clock at Watab.
Okay. 7 o'clock, September 24th, Watab Town Hall.
Yeah,
BCAT,
To the list.
What time?
7.
7, yeah.
I have that too.
We should be back in time from,
Today we'll fly back.
Yeah.
I think now we're done.
all right, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the cows.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to approve the cows. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed, it's carried. If it's okay with the rest of the board, we can forego commissioner meeting updates and
Yes.
concerns. Monty, do we need a motion then to move into closed session?
Yes, of course, and I'm going to that agenda item right now. I
I'll
wanna
make a motion to go into closed session.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Hmm?
Yeah, just for the record, we want to make sure we reference Minnesota statutes 13D.05 subdivision 3 to develop or consider offers or counteroffers for the purchase or sale of real or personal property. And just let you know, this has to be recorded. And it says the real or personal property that is subject to closing must be specifically identified on the tape. And of course, we're talking about the possible sale of the annex and the administration buildings, this portion of the government center. That's, want to make sure that's clear is the part, that's what we're talking about.
Amanda, is that one check?
Oh, that's a sliding one.
So.
Does that work for you?
I'll amend my motion to include everything that Monty just said.
Yep, thank you.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and second to go into closed session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, it's carried. All right, Monty.
So now we have.
All right, well, let's get
Our
things,
attorneys, yeah,
let's shut off streaming and we'll shut off the mics.